So this is, again, this is 3.5. We're on page 147. I gave some earlier examples, but we're starting to do some of the problems here that I'm assigning for homework. So we're on page 147 here. And the very first one that I want to look at here is number 3. It says 0.7 times 0.8. So what I'm going to do here is shade 0.7 of them purple. And just like I've taught you guys, I'm just going left to right the first time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you guys should be doing the same thing. And again, I don't care what color you use. If you use purple or brown or yellow, it doesn't matter. Okay? So there's my first set done. And then I'm going to use, I'll use red for the 0.8. And the second time, I'm going to go vertically. I'm going to go up and down. And I'm going to count over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to start coloring those in. And in the workbook, it doesn't show up as well as my, my tablet. But I think you guys can get the right idea here. These are the ones that have overlapped. If I can get my pen to work here. There we go.
What if your coloring isn't super good?
Let's do the best you can. So that's where the answer would lie, what's overlapped. So 0.7 times 0.8. Well, what's 7 times 8?
56.
56. I have to move the decimal over how many places?
2.
If you were to count these squares in here, you would see that there's 56 squares. All right? This is similar to that last problem I showed you guys a few minutes ago. Let's do this one. So 0.1. So this is considered the whole thing here. So 0.1 would be one row all the way across. Remember, you go left to right for starters. All right? Then it's 2.1. So here's 1, here's 2, and then 0.1. So I'm going to color that 0.1 right there, and then the rest. All the rest of this. And so it doesn't show up so well with those two colors, but the overlap area is right there. Okay? And so 0.1 times 2.1 is 0.21. And if you were to count, you would see that there's 21 squares that were overlapped. Let's do a couple more. I'm looking at number 5 here. Okay, 0.4. You guys should know by now I'm just going to take 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and going from left to right for starters. Then I'll use red, and then 0.5. And now I'm going to go vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can kind of see the overlap. So 0.5 times 0.4, what's 4 times 5? 20, but how many decimals do we have to move over? 2. And so if you were to count, you would see that there's 20 squares in there. And what's overlapping? And I'll do one more with you guys. Number 7. All right, so number 7. Trying to pick a couple colors that show up a little bit better. So again, 0.5. So I'm going to do half of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what we're talking about. This is half of this object. I've colored blue. Okay? It doesn't show up so well, but... And then, let's see here. And then 1.7. So here's 1. This whole thing is 1 right here, 100 squares. And then 0.7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'd be right to here, looks like. And so from there back, I would color those in. This doesn't work so well with colored pencils. I don't know that markers would be any better. Of course, if you use markers, then if you make a mistake, you're kind of stuck. There's no correcting it. That's why I prefer colored pencils in much of what we do, because you can erase it if you have to. So, and again, as always, the overlap area would be here. And if I was to do the actual problem, 1.7, whoops. Love whiteout. I wonder who invented that. 1.7 times 0.5. 5 times 7 is what? 35. Carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. And we have 2 decimal places, so 0.85. Now, that means there should be 85 squares in here. And if there's 5 in each column of the overlap, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. So there's 85 squares there. So do the best you can with what colored pencils you've got. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work so well, you know, what colors you use for the overlap. I darken mine, you know, with a black marker, so it's kind of easier to see what the overlap is. But go ahead and do 6 and 8. And then let's look at a couple of these problems for the rest of your homework. We got a few minutes before lunch here. Let's look at number 16 together. Let me move this where you guys can see it. All right, 16. They don't give you much room to work here. But let's see, 2.8 times 0.3. I'm just going to put a 0.3. I'm not going to worry about the 0. So 3 times 8 is 24. Put down the 4, carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. And then how many decimal places do I have to move? 1, 2. So 0.84 is the answer to number 16. All right. So I think that's it. I want you guys to work on page 147 and then also 148, and I'll probably do a short video to help you out on 148. Let me end this here.